Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Sagittarius energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Sagittarius, the bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius energy, because we all have our free will and we have to make decisions in our life, and we can be battling within ourselves, or some people could be battling within themselves. We might want to move forward in life differently, have more hope and faith and belief in ourselves, in our dreams and love, want to be in relationships with people who are more just and fair. And Sagittarius is about higher learning and education, Not everybody's learned some of the lessons that other people have learned about how to be more just and fair and treat other people the way they like to be treated. And, there could be people that are kind of on the same page as us, but do we love them? Do they love us? Are we kind of indulging ourselves in a relationship or not? And so some people could be struggling to make a decision. Other people have already went through the debate. Some people are going to keep living their life the way they've done it. Some other people are more shadowy and they're going to keep living their life like that. And some other people did heal or grow or change or something. The truth sets us free to live our life differently. And some people did that. Whatever it is, the reading will maybe tell us what it is. And so they're moving forward in life differently. They're not the same person that they were before. And we all tap into Sagittarius energy. It's fire sign energy, kind of about what drives and motivates us, what our truth is. So let's go see what the reading says. The bottom row says official person. Man, Aries, and the way I read tarot is that we could be, at any phase of our life, we're defending our life and the way we're living it, but we might be more fired up about these things of the world, about ourselves. But I think as we get older in life, we can be more inspired. Fire sign is Aries energy. Fire sign energy also, where we're more inspired by more than just being about ourselves and things of the world. High vibe Aries would be where we become a better leader in our own life, and we have learned these lessons in life, and we're ready now to be more inspired by more than just ourselves in the world, and be a good leader in our life, be willing to take on more responsibilities in relationship to other people, that when we have to make decisions that are going to affect other people, we take those people into account, where some people really didn't like to do that. Or maybe they were just more about themselves, or just still more fired up about the world than being inspired. High vibe energy is to be more independent from your shadowy nature, your more immature, self-indulgent nature, and more independent in the world, not letting the world define your worth and value, more willing to stand up for yourself and what you believe in instead of letting other people manipulate you. And so the masculine energies can represent, if we're tilted more from operating from our ego than our more emotionally intuitive nature. And some people could be being inspired, whether they're male or female, to take action in the world. High vibe energy is also more balanced, not tipped out of balance, where before we could have been more defensive to being more authentically ourselves, living our more authentic life, being more independent than staying in more codependent type relationships, and just getting out of our ego more in our defensiveness to being more willing to listen to our intuition based on the lessons we've learned in life. So we have the Sun card, the Child card, and then we have some cards not showing themselves. The Child card is the fifth house, which is Leo energy. So two cards of Leo energy in shadow can be kind of more caught up in things of the world or in ourself. Since this is a Child card, it could be that people were a more codependent energy. We all grow up as children. We're used to having friends and family and things like that around us that we look to be fill our cup emotionally, make us feel more stable and grounded, and we can stay in a more codependent energy a lot of our life. Some people all their life, but for the first several decades of our life, because about the first two, we are still like 18. And then after that, we've got to learn these lessons in life to love ourselves. High vibe Leo is aligning with life giving energy. And I choose to love myself. I'm going to be a good mother, father, coach voice to myself. So I'm not looking to other people to bring that to my life. I've learned how to bring that to myself. And then I can get out of less codependent relationships. And there might be some people, and the tree up in the top line can talk about foundations, which is Virgo energy. But we're all more caught up in the world initially because we kind of get indoctrinated in the world. You should make your life about this. And Virgo energy is about kind of what we invest our time, energy, and effort into, and kind of how we view life, and how we view our foundation, how we kind of view our future foundation. Trees can represent foundations, family foundations, and things like that. And I think for the first 4 decades of people's life, they're kind of operating they can be a loving person, but we're so kind of tilted and fired up about these things of the world that we want to manifest. And we get told during our lifetime of all these things that we should make our life about. And if we make our life about those things, we'll be happy. And if we invest in these things and those things and drink this and eat this, it'll make us happy. And it's kind of all these things that we can make our life about what other people in our life told us. People in our family, people in our community, our state, our country, and we can love them. And so then we kind of follow what other people do. And then in tarot, they would kind of refer to that as living in your south node when you have all these lessons to learn. And then as we get older, and Sagittarius energy about learning all these lessons, then, we might, after we've learned all these lessons and we've come in contact with all these different people in the world to help us get more clear about what our truth is and what our truth isn't, then we might be more willing. The masculine energies could just mean people taking action in the world. We're more kind of fired up to live our more authentic life. I did go invest in all these things. I did follow other people's example. I did kind of live my life like other people. I had all these life experiences I wanted to go indulge in. And in a lot of ways, it might have been successful or and some people were more just focused on themselves and maybe having stability and security within themselves if some people were just focusing more on their career. And so in a lot of ways, it could have been rewarding with the Sun card. That can mean that a lot of things about it were good. But it either could have been that we were more about ourselves, we were more codependent. We could have had a pattern, because we'll all repeat a certain pattern until we're illuminated to the truth that we're kind of repeating a pattern. And, when we're children, we're more codependent on people. And you also, though, because this card has a dolphin in it, which is about play and fun and love, you could have a pattern of kind of indulging other people who might operate more from their ego. And it could be because when we were young and we could have dealt with people who were kind of bossy or controlling or manipulative or whatever, we have experience where we've kind of got to work to get along with people, and so that can be a pattern that we keep repeating. And sometimes very loving people keep thinking they can change other people. And because, yes, love, encouragement, support are the ingredients that you can offer people to help them change, but they have to be willing to shed light on their own more immature ways of being, or codependent, or bossy, or manipulative, or defensive. And they have to make that change within themselves. And, maybe then as people get older, they could say, before I used to kind of take, I would get involved in relationships with people who maybe didn't have that more hopeful, believing, loving nature, that maybe in shadowy Leo energy and Aries energy of self, they were more defensive to being open to letting their more inner child nature out to play. And I kept hoping they would change. And needless, a lot of those people kept being defensive because they are who they are based on their life experiences. They went through the debate throughout their life and they came out being a little more defensive, or a little more about themselves, or a little more immature, or a little more codependent. And other people, yes, could be codependent, could be kind of caught up in things of the world, but at a foundational level, they have hope and faith and belief and love. And some people don't. Some people are quite prideful and egotistical and self-centered, and they indulge making their life about themselves, and they think other people should make their life about them too. We meet all sorts of different people in our life, right? And sometimes shadowy energy again can be, we're just people, or more worldly energy. They are more fired up and driven and motivated by these things of the world. I want a certain status and image. I want people to view me as successful and victorious. Some people, though, kind of like to be more about being in the spotlight, and attention is more important to them. And then if someone gets in a relationship with them and it's kind of a more mismatched relationship, where one person harnesses a more worldly focused Leo energy and the other person harnesses a more hopeful, believing, loving, authentic, high vibe Leo energy, there can be a lot. We can be attracted to them. Fire sign in general means that you can be attracted to people. But again, there's these things of the world. We can seem like we are operating from the same foundation, that some of the things that we want to manifest and things that we have in common, things that we enjoy doing, we could have a lot of commonality in that way. And you can be in a relationship with someone for a long time because there's all these different things you have to navigate and work through. And then it can be when you get down to, are you willing to be more inspired to live your more authentic life, or be more independent from the world? Quit being more codependent on the world to validate your worth and value, and acknowledge you, that you kind of acknowledge yourself, that I'm proud of myself. I might not be as successful as other people. I might not, but do I have what I need? Shadowy energy can be where enough is never enough. I need more attention. I need more money. I need people to indulge me more. I need to indulge in more of these things that I think in the world, if I indulge in them, they'll make me happy. And it can be, shadowy energy. The big picture is represented by the devil, all these things that manipulate us. And some of those things get a stranglehold on us, and it's really hard to get out of it, And you really kind of got to dig deep. This person looks like they wounded in their side. Makes me think of Jesus being stabbed. But also kind of the heart area. Where does my heart lie? Do I want to keep letting these things of the world manipulate me? Let my fear or my insecurity or other people in my life manipulate me? Do I want to be more independent or not? And some people don't. Because you can make your life about, I might have a core foundation in my life. It could be friends or a family group where they're my primary foundation. Do I want to I can't marry those people, but do I want to get in relationships with other people? Yes. But this is my primary foundation. So then you kind of find out like you're a third party, even though you're the person they might marry and have children with. That that is who they look to. And because they haven't learned to do this within themselves and feel more stable and confident within themselves, to live their more authentic life. And then if they have those friends or family members that tell them, you shouldn't hang out with those people and you shouldn't live your life like that, because those people are more who they are codependent on to be that resource for them, because they're not being that resource within themselves. Then if those people tell them, no, you let those people go, then they'll turn their back on some of the people in their life who were offering them love and encouragement, truth, love, resources, where they could have changed their whole life. But you have to be willing and inspired to even want to change your life when we're going to move forward in life differently, just like we did age 15 to age 18 to age 21 to age 25. We kind of had to detach from our more immature ways of viewing life, viewing relationships, our more self-centered, egotistical nature, our more codependent nature. And we had to face our fears. We have fire sign energy again of taking a chance. The Sith card, which is kind of like the Death card, which in tarot is Scorpio energy, which is emotional water sign energy and exploring the mysteries of life. This card, though, says Libra. Am I willing to take a chance to get the justice I deserve? I could keep repeating old patterns. I could keep living my life the way I live it. Am I willing to take a chance to get the justice I deserve? And then in the star card of Aquarius energy, look at life from a higher perspective. Have hope and faith and belief in myself, in my dreams. Aquarius energy can be about uniqueness, willing to step outside of societal norms to bring needed change. And also shine your own light in the world. We all have our own unique talent, skills, and interests. Everybody has a way of living their life that they find emotionally fulfilling. Just because we could grow up in a family and a friend group that we like and have had a lot of fun with, is it moving forward? Do other people encourage other people to be bold and brave and confident, or do they not? Do they let you shine your authentic light and be more independent, or do they not like that? Our dreams are different than other people's dreams. We could find emotionally fulfilling, even though we can find a lot of things about certain people in our life that we enjoy and we find emotionally fulfilling. Are they respecting you as my own unique individual? Or if I don't do life the way they want to do it, then do they think they're the boss of my life? I write the story of my own life, just like they write the story of their life. If I'm not trying to use the love maybe that they have for me to try to manipulate and control them, do they use the love that I have for them to try to manipulate and control me? Because high vibe energy is being just and fair and truthful and honest, and high vibe Leo being loving, being warm, being encouraging people to believe in themselves, believe in their dreams. Aquarius is also about healing from past pain and heartbreak and self-limiting beliefs. But we can all know some other people in our family and friend group that they haven't done that and they may never do that. And it could bother them if other people do work through those things to free themselves from some of the things that manipulate them. And then at the end, we do have the coffin card, which in tarot again would be Scorpio energy. But Scorpio energy has to do with exploring the mysteries of life again and these complicated emotions that we have for people. And it's confusing. But this card says Leo. So again, high vibe Leo is willing to live your authentic truth? Or do we know people who want us to keep the truth hidden? Shadowy energy is, the truth sets us free. No, ignore the truth. don't have hope and faith and belief in love. Let's make our life more about indulging ourselves in these things of the world. We'll be happy. That's how we live our life. We didn't have hope and faith and belief in our dreams to free ourselves from the things that manipulate us in our ego, in our fear. So this is how we're living life. Look how wonderful our life is. And then, we kind of get in relationships with other people that are in their own shadowy, whatever way of viewing life. But are we really living our authentic truth? Are we free, independent? Or are we trying to conform to all these invisible rules, like, no, you have to do this and you can't do that, and you wear this and you act like this, and you only talk to these people, not those people, and you only go to these places, not those places, and if you do go to those places, you only go to those places if those other people are there, because what would people think? Shadowy energy can be all this bullshit, so caught up in how other people perceive you. What would other people think? Well, you know what? That's getting caught up in the illusion, because people are going to think what they're going to think regardless. How about you see through the illusion and see the truth? That's what High Vibe Virgo's about. I've done this inner work in the foundation of myself to love and believe in myself, to offer love to my own fears and insecurities, that I'm not going to let my shadowy, more immature, bossy, controlling nature run my life. I'm going to stand up for myself. And I'm going to be inspired by truth and love. And I'm going to go out in the world and be authentically myself and treat other people the way I like to be treated, with love and respect. Not, judge away, world, because you are going to judge away anyway. And I'm not going to try to conform to all this bullshit. And I'm going to take a risk to do this work, maybe on fire sign energy, to get more balance within myself, to see the truth about why do I make these things so important to me, or certain people in my life. If I feel like they're being bossy or controlling or trying to manipulate me, is that love? I thought loving people want you to love and believe in yourself and pursue your dreams. And that's confusing if we have people in our life who keep telling us, no, 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 don't go there. The Clouds card, though, reminds me of Pisces energy, which is about believing in our dreams, but it can be about, well, and this card says Gemini energy, which is kind of like, what is our truth? Other people try to confuse other people. I don't think that person loves you. I don't think that person has your best interest at heart. I think you should align with me and you should stay here. Let those people go. Don't listen to your intuition. Operate more from your ego. Operate more from your defensive nature, your fear. Don't listen to your intuition and believe in your dreams. And some people aren't willing to see the truth of some people in their foundation. And until they're willing to see the truth and we're all ready to deal with the truth, who in my life does think they're the boss of me, even though I could be 50 years old? Who in my life thinks I should keep indulging them, deferring to them? Who in my life tries to manipulate me, control me? Who tries to use the love that I have for them to manipulate and control me, tell me they know best? I shouldn't listen to my intuition. Our intuition was given to us as a gift. We have lessons to learn in life. We're going to be drawn and attracted to people, and partly, are all those people that we're drawn and attracted to going to work out wonderfully? No, because we might be drawn and attracted to people because we have some value. They're going to illuminate some truths to us that we maybe haven't wanted to see. And it's all going to be part of the process on our journey of learning these lessons in life. Shadowy energy can be wanting to live more from your mind than your heart. Maybe that could be this person. Sometimes in tarot, the King of Swords is referred to as like a lawmaker or whatever, or a cop. And so if this is more like the King of Swords, that can be just our self-protective defensive nature. I have your best interests. You should stay here. You should not go out there to play in the world. You could get hurt. I know you want to go indulge in some of those things, but you could get hurt out there. You need to keep living your life the way you've been living it. It'll be great. And that's our ego and our more self-protective, self-defensive nature running our life. And then some people never go live their authentic life, never let their inner child out to play in relationships. And they try to create this illusion. Well, then I'm going to go out there in the world, create this illusion that I am more hopeful and believing in love, even when I'm not. And then I'm just going to go indulge in the world. I'll use my emotions and my sexuality and my thoughts and my charm and my charisma to get people to view me as being high vibe, so they'll move forward with me in a relationship, but I'm in dead energy, shadowy Scorpio energy. I made a free will choice to keep my more emotionally intuitive, loving nature, authentic nature, buried beneath the surface. I don't let that aspect of myself come out to play. I made a decision that the best decision was to protect myself. And so now I'm just going to go out and indulge in relationships, creating the illusion I'm motivated and inspired to do a loving relationship, but I'm really not. I will indulge in it until someone really wants that type of dream to come into reality, and then I'll maybe end the relationship. Oh no, not going there. Because then I would maybe have to connect more in with my more feminine figures can represent our more emotionally intuitive nature, whether we're male or female. There's women in the world that are defensive, that are prideful, that are egotistical, that are immature, that are bossy and controlling, who try to confuse men, if they're into men, about the truth of who they are. And there's men in that energy, probably equal give and take, And we've probably all known some of them. And they try to present themselves as more self-aware, more independent, less immature, less fearful, less defensive than they are. And they take action sometimes towards people who are more emotionally mature, more emotionally balanced than they are. Thinking, oh, this will be great. This will make me look victorious and successful. This will make me look like, if anybody knows kind of how I acted before in other relationships, it'll look like I've changed because look at the person I got in a relationship with. I must not be who people thought I was before, or at the last job, or in the last friendship, or the last relationship. I've transformed my life, because the death card is about death and rebirth, transforming your life, where you really did shed an old layer of yourself to give birth to a more emotionally mature version of yourself. But for some people, that's what they wanted to do for those purposes. For some, it wasn't even because of love. I mean, there might have been some attraction for some, and there might have been, but it's really more about how they'll benefit. And for some of those people who tried to do that, the relationship ended because the person they tried to get in a relationship with was maybe a little more emotionally intuitive or more authentic and loving than some of these other people. And again, they could have found them, initially they could have thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. Yeah. But then when you realize you harness your Scorpio energy differently, that one person is willing to detach from some old ways of being to give birth to something new, and another person's like, well, no, I just thought we were going to keep moving forward like this, which is like stagnant, dead energy. Let's just keep doing this. This is great. Let's keep doing this. Like, well, I had, a dream of love, and I could like you and I could love you, and I want this to be that new thing. I want the dream to come into reality. And the other person's like, I kind of have these ways of viewing life, and if we could just keep doing things the way we've done it, and it could be that I find it emotionally confusing to maybe connect more in with my emotions, whether I'm male or female. I kind of do like to operate more from my ego and create this illusion, and it makes me feel safe and stable within myself. Can't we just do that? But if one person has more experience with dealing with people who are more authentic and loving and warm, well, then they want this person to kind of be more like that. And that can be when a relationship ends. You know? I'm not willing to do that. I would have to let my more hopeful, believing inner child out to play, and they could get hurt out there, and I'm not willing to do that. So then a relationship can end. And then the people they're in a relationship with, it's kind of like, oh, or before it ends, it's like, I love this person. I wanted this dream to come into reality. But am I willing to keep moving forward in a relationship where things never change? If there's any healing or growing or maturing that would be beneficial, that doesn't happen. I'd kind of be moving forward in creating this illusion that maybe it's more authentic or loving or balanced or aligned with my truth when maybe it's really not. Do I love and believe in myself enough that I can love someone, but if they're not in a relationship with me anymore and decided to go get in a relationship with someone else or make their life more about themselves or their ego or something, I can't keep waiting, hoping one day other people will change. When we look at ourselves and just some examples within ourselves of how long did it take us to learn some lessons in life. If any of you kind of had a more harsh, critical inner voice, how long did that take to change? For those of you who it has changed, that's it. I'm done. I have free will. I'm not going to belittle and berate myself anymore. And immediately right after that, the next morning when you wake up, it's hard to change these habits. And it really, in Virgo energy, which is Earth sign energy, we have to invest some time, energy, and effort, kind of dig deep, get to the core foundational issues of some of those things to figure out why the hell we keep doing that. It can take years and decades to finally free ourselves from some of those things: past pain, heartbreak, fear, insecurity, codependency, lust, greed, immaturity, whatever, to really break free of it, where we really have transformed our life, where we're not the same person we were before. And so it's kind of wishing other people peace. I see that you have some things that still manipulate you. I see that you ended a relationship with me, or you're not coming towards me to get in a relationship with me. And I can't keep... It's kind of like if one person's kind of just even living a more immature life, because we've all went through these different stages of life. We've been there, we've done that. We don't want to do that anymore. I want to move forward in a more balanced, mature, self-aware, having learned some lessons in life, shed some old ways of being. And the other person's like, well, but I still like doing all these things, and I still find it fulfilling, and or whatever, Shadowy energy, again, the big picture kind of represented by the devil, can just be these things that manipulate people. But if we kind of look at it as the devil of things that are stopping people from being more connected in with their emotions, loving themselves, and learning to love yourself, can take 3-4 decades of your life, right? to work through the emotional confusion and the fears and the codependency and being caught up in the things of the world and doing this inner work and learning these lessons. I can't, if some people are in a stage of life that kind of has a hold on them, it's kind of like the devil getting a 2-for-1 if it keeps you stagnant too. And, sometimes the devil does try to use, if we look at the devil as shadowy energy that tries to stop people from giving birth to anything new, because high vibe energy, represented by God at the picture, is about giving birth to new things. But the devil uses the love that we have for people to manipulate us. And it keeps us stagnant too. And we have to see the truth. I have a dream. My dream isn't codependent on certain people. Just like God trying to give birth to new things. If other people are caught up in what they're caught up in, okay, they're at where they're at. It isn't going to stop God from manifesting what God wants to manifest. God's going to stay balanced within himself, believe in his dreams. The people who aren't ready to give birth to something new, well, they're going to learn some lessons. We either can go down the wrong path or the right path. And, either one, we're going to learn lessons and everybody learns from it. And everybody's got free will to live their life the way they want. But God wants to give birth to something new. And I think the people who work through the confusing emotions, that if there's people in my life who aren't working together with me in a just and fair manner, or a loving manner, or authentic manner, I believe God wants me to learn new lessons. And if I accept the truth that this is not moving forward in that way, and I do this work within myself to wish them peace, because love is the answer. I wish them peace. They are where they're at. Hey, I've been there myself, to some degree. I know how hard it is. And we just didn't realize that kind of we're on different stages. Kind of like in tarot, they talk about it as being, what do they call it? Timeline jumping. It's kind of like, are we going to be mad at someone because they're still view life more like a 25-year-old, even though they could be 35? Maybe they didn't have as much life experience as we did at 25. So they're still kind of think they're living the dream, but we're all 35, It's just that some people have already been there, done that. They've learned the lessons they were meant to learn. Some people haven't, or they don't want to get out of it and they want to keep repeating it over and over. And we've seen that's not our truth. Well, then the divine has a different plan for our life. And if we're willing to wish people peace, to let them live their life the way they want it, not let it keep us stuck and stagnant and confused, we wish them peace and we free ourselves. And then, because we were willing to deal with the truth and not live in illusion, in denial, oh no, my dream can only come in with them, God. Well, how can that be? Because they're kind of doing this, and you want to do that. Oh, I know, but I love them. Change them. Come on. And God's like, everybody's on their own journey and has this free will. If you want to have your dream come into reality, you need to work through this emotional confusion. We can love people, wish them peace, and we move on to go get the justice we deserve. And it isn't codependent on certain people in our life. And then high vibe energy is also being a leader in the world. And maybe as you go live your life and you're moving forward anyway, then some other people are like, could be confused, like, well, I know that person loved me. I thought if I turned my back on them and I took action, maybe more out of ego, to try to use the love that they have for me to manipulate them, to get them to do the relationship the way I wanted, because I didn't want to do it the way they wanted, because that means I have to put in this work and effort to get more balance within myself and love and believe in myself and believe in my dreams and detach from some of these things that manipulate me. And I don't want to do that. Well, then they see, and they could be kind of heartbroken that you're not willing to settle for less. You do believe in your dreams, and truth and love. And it might be the thing to make, not as a purpose to manipulate them. I'm going to go live my authentic life. And probably by the time you kind of do this work within yourself, with some of those people, you might realize they're not someone I want to be in a relationship with. Once I did this work to think about what is just and fair, what is my dreams and my idea of the dream life and dream relationship versus theirs, we kind of could see the truth of it, that we're driven and motivated by different things emotionally. And if we want to be in a more deep, meaningful relationship, or a more superficial and shallow, if we're more superficial and shallow, and with some of the people through that process, you realize, I wish them peace, but we're just not on the same page. And then you're really free. With other people, adult children, friends, family member, longtime friends, some people that you've dated or whatever before, I think those people are closer to being on the same page as me. There might be some things right now, and maybe other people in their life, if it's friends or family members, that they need to focus their attention on, or doing some of this work within themselves. But I do think they're closer to being on the same page as me. And if at some future date they work through some of their things, because we all work through some of these things at different times, and they get more balance within themselves and have kind of gotten maybe out of their head in their fear or their defensiveness or whatever, and they've kind of transformed those things in their life and work through them, then I could be more open to being in a relationship with them. Let's go look at the bottom row with these cards that aren't showing themselves. We have the Cross, the Thief, the False Person, the Expectation, and Imprisonment. Well, for some people, Aries energy and, Leo being fire sign energy, there are some people that are quite egotistical. They kind of think they make them God in their own life, and they think other people should look to them for everything to be the answer to their problems. Some people definitely like more codependent relationships. And then, though, they like to maybe get in relationships with loving, nurturing people, but hope they're more codependent on them, get in a relationship with them initially, being maybe coming across very loving and nurturing and supportive, but then they got some lessons to learn. They might take some foolish risks in a relationship with the Thief card. So see, one person's kind of harnessing this energy in a high vibe way, getting in a relationship with someone who their intuition might tell them, but it's to see the difference and the subtle differences. One person is like being life force energy in someone's life, loving and encouraging, helpful. The other person seems to be like that type of person, and they can feel like that type of person in your life. But the subtle difference is one person is kind of creating an illusion with the Thief. It's like a mental construct. I'm going to make it seem like I'm just like you. And if you don't listen to your intuition and aren't bold and brave enough or haven't learned that lesson yet, then we'll get in a relationship. You'll believe I am like you. You will invest your inner child, hopeful, believing, loving nature into me. That makes me feel so powerful, like I'm God. I have snagged a loving person. And then they think it's just and fair to kind of be more about themselves, and that's what they like. The Star card can be like, because this person has invested in me and loves me, I feel like a star, but, you have to be a just and fair person and look at life from a higher perspective, because other people can abuse that power. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And some people think, now that I got this person to invest in me, and they believe in me and love me, well, now I can take this risk to kind of go back to my more shadow nature. Like, I don't have to keep putting in the work and effort, because high vibe people put a lot of work and effort to make a relationship work, to make it inspiring and balanced, and to make that dream come into reality. And then they're like, perfect. Now I can go back to being who I really am, which really is more about me or ego or image or money or materialism. Keeping my more emotional nature imprisoned. And I'm going to go indulge in this relationship and stay in it for as long as I can, as long as it works for me. Indulging myself in the relationship. This makes me look like a boss. This looks victorious and successful. If the person I'm in a relationship with starts to kind of realize that, wait a minute, it could seem like I'm putting a lot of work and effort to make this more just and fair and inspiring and balanced and being more authentic. And I'm starting to think the other person really isn't letting their more emotionally loving nature out. Like high vibe Leo, where people are being authentic and warm. And then as time goes by, you can feel like it is more superficial and shallow. It's like, how'd that happen? That is not what I wanted. Wait a minute. Why are you in this relationship? I thought it was love, but I'm trying to bring this dream into reality, but it can only come into reality, if you emotionally grow and mature yourself, get more balance within yourself, have more hope and faith and belief in yourself and in love, and do this work within yourself instead of kind of operating more from your ego or defensive nature or self-indulgent nature. And when they sense that you are starting to listen more to your intuition, and then you've kind of got to do this work within yourself because you're starting to see that it's not what you thought it was. And you have to do this work within yourself. I can love this person, but this isn't, it seems like it's more of an illusion than what I thought it was. And I could feel like people are using the love that I have for them to manipulate me. I don't like that. And then we've got to work through all this emotional confusion that I'd like to stay in the relationship for all these different reasons. And I do have love for them. But I kind of feel like we're driven and motivated by different things. And I think it is going to be nothing's going to grow here, because if they're not willing to do this work within themselves to free themselves, they keep kind of being the same. But throughout the process of the relationship, I could have shed many layers of myself and old ways of being and old ways of thinking. I'm not the same person I was when I got in the relationship, but they still could be kind of more the same person. Are you going to work through your fears and insecurities and things that manipulate you? Is anything ever going to change? Was it more for ego and image and to be in a relationship where someone is being a loving, nurturing person to you, but I in turn don't get someone who's like that really with me? I mean, you might mirror back to me how I am with you, but I don't think your cup of love really freely overflows, to freely give of yourself. I'm beginning to wonder if you even have hope and faith and belief in love. Or if it really is more about, if it works out for you and works for you, you'll be in it. But to really emotionally invest yourself in it, where we really could have a dream come into reality, I don't think that's going to happen. And that can be when some people decide to end a relationship. Some of you have already done that. Other people are in the midst of doing that. For those of you that already went through that, you saw the truth, and you were willing to be bold and brave and confident enough to listen to your intuition and believe in your dreams. And just like you did that, other people did that, other people are doing that. And you're not willing to give up your dreams. So kind of with this card being the death card, you let go of an old dream to get the justice you deserve, to believe in your dreams, to emotionally detach from an old way of living life, viewing life, because you saw that it wasn't. People were hiding, that they weren't being authentic. Maybe trying to confuse people about the truth of who they were. And that's not what you want. And this female figure here is carrying a sword. And also that could be like the Queen of Swords, where, I felt betrayed, but I looked at life from a higher perspective. I kept things in perspective. I kept taking slow, steady steps forward, maintaining balance within myself, looking to life-giving energy, God, to help me as I go through this process of a painful ending and emotionally having to detach from an old way of living life and some people in my life, to stand in my truth. And then when I complete that process, and my intuition again, in my shadow nature, or my loving nature, is like offering love to my own more codependent nature that kind of wants me to give in to my lust and my greed and my pride and my ego and go repeat this old pattern. And I'm offering love to it so that when I am ready and my intuition tells me it is time, I will go take this action to get the justice I deserve when I have emotionally detached from an old foundation and way of living life. And then I'm ready to go out there to go get that new job, look for a new friend, get in a new relationship. And I'm standing in my truth. What's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Sagittarius energy that they might not see coming? The Two of Swords, or the Two of Cups, which is Cancer energy, about self-love and aligning with love. Why? Because of the Nine of Swords, which is Gemini energy, which is about our dualistic nature, which was the Clouds card here. What is my truth? I stayed focused on my truth, and the truth is, I do have hope and faith and belief in love, and I do think there's more to work with than these things of the world. Other people might not. No, that's love is an illusion. You just have to work with these things of the world. You should operate more from your worldly, egoic nature. That's what I do. And it's like, I believe there's a higher truth and justice at play in the world. I do believe there's a life force energy that wants to work with us to give birth to something new. And I think our more worldly, fearful, codependent nature wants us to do life like that. We have free will. I choose to stay focused on the truth and love. And because you stay in that energy, I think there's going to be other people that you will meet that have went through the same process as you have. And there'll be other people in your life that are going to move forward with you because they see you are this just and fair person who is offering truth and love and inspiration to people to love and believe in themselves. No interest in trying to dominate and control people or manipulate people or lying to people, trying to confuse people about the truth of who you are. You're being authentic and loving. And there's going to be other people that have hung out with people that could be a little more shadowy, who are going to want to be in relationships with you because they don't want to be in relationships with people who are more manipulative or controlling or deceptive or manipulative or trying to trap them in a relationship not based on love. What's coming up for some of the people harnessing a more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius energy? Got some lessons to learn in life. This card not showing itself. Ace of Cups in reverse. Why? Because of the Queen of Pentacles. Kind of shadowy people always have some people in life who've learned a little more lessons than they have. That might be a nurturing, loving person in their life, whether that's a friend or family member. But it could be someone who would like to marry them, is married to them, wants to date them, is dating them. But if they have someone in their life who keeps trying to offer them the truth, when one person is holding the one pentacle, in high vibe, it means they have learned lessons in life. And this is a queen. Sagittarius energy is represented by the Knight of Wands. A queen is more mature than a Knight of Wands, whether they're male or female. Emotionally, they're more mature. And they could have love for these people, and they've been loving and encouraging. But if these people keep being defensive, to listening to their intuition, getting out of their ego, doing some of this inner work, eventually some of the high vibe people are going to just wish them peace, and they're not going to keep investing in them emotionally. And they're going to listen to their intuition. I have a dream. How long do people have to keep repeating a pattern over and over and over for people to see the truth? They're not motivated and inspired by that truth. That's not how they choose to live their life. And eventually other people do see the truth of it. And they're no longer willing to maybe also stay in a relationship with someone who isn't offering them love. And they move on. And some of those people are doing that right now. If these people keep being this way, they're always going to have some people in their life, new people they meet, that are kind of view life the way they view it, at whatever stage of life that is, or emotional maturity level. And there's always going to be other people that could be aligned with their more worldly nature, or like to play that role in people's life. Oh, I like this pattern. I'll be a nurturing, loving person to you. Or, I'll get in a relationship with you, but it might be more for the status, the image, you're attractive, you look successful in some way. I'll get in a relationship with you. I'm just hiding that it's not because of love. And some of these people, that could be their comfort zone. You mean we don't have to do a deep, meaningful relationship? Can we be in a relationship, enjoy our life, kind of maybe indulge ourselves in our more immature worldly nature? Yeah. We both might reject growing to our full potential. We both kind of might deceive ourselves and not want to see the truth. We both might operate a little bit more from our ego. We both might keep our more emotionally loving nature imprisoned. And we both might be a little defensive to stepping outside our comfort zone, to listening to our intuition. Let's just keep making our life about these things of the world or whatever, because that feels safe and secure. And maybe, I don't want to step out of my comfort zone. Maybe I like making my life conforming to the world. And that's fine. Just some other people realized they didn't. And when they realized someone they were in a relationship with is kind of really about staying in their comfort zone, not more inspired to be more independent in the world, and other people are, those people didn't want to stay in it. And, the Queen of Swords is the reason why the top row's reading came out, and the Queen of Swords is Aquarius energy. Some people are more motivated and inspired about looking like a shining star, and that can be why they get in the relationships, the career fields, the friendship groups that they get in. It really isn't about love for some of them. It's all how it makes them look. Oh, is this good for my ego and image? Does this make me look victorious and successful, like I'm a boss in the world? And it's all superficial and shallow. Other people saw the truth of it, and those people left. Other people might be more than happy to be in a relationship with someone like that. Maybe that's how they live their life, and that's the most important thing to them. To each their own. High vibe people are staying focused on truth and love. Some shadowy people either just haven't learned to love themselves, and they're in codependent energy, looking for someone to make them feel that way. Like loved. Like, that's not my job. I'm going to focus on these things. Or I'm looking for someone to love me, to make me feel better. The problem is sometimes when people get in codependent relationships or someone is looking for someone to be the answer to their problems, if their problems bubble up in the relationship, why are my issues that I try not to deal with kind of coming back up to the surface? They don't take responsibility for it because they went and got in a relationship. You were like a drug or a bottle of beer they drank. You were supposed to be the answer to their problems. And if their issues bubble up again, well, then you must be the wrong person. I have to go find someone else. Because they don't take responsibility that the only one who can solve their problems at a core foundational level, that deceives and manipulates them and limits them and restricts them and confuses them and their own harsh critical inner voice, is them. But until they see the truth of it, they'll keep not offering love to themselves. They'll use their things of the world, their charm, their charisma, their looks, their money, to try to go get someone else in a relationship. And then other people like to play that role in someone else's life. I like you to view me as this loving, nurturing person. And they can be a very loving, nurturing person, which is why, to a degree, why some of you got in a relationship with them to begin with. But the intention underlying it is different. Truly loving, nurturing people want people to free themselves from their self-limiting beliefs, their fears and insecurities. Other people are like, well, no, I like you being codependent on me and maybe being hurt, being confused, not loving yourself. Then you look to me as this loving person. Then I feel like I'm this loving person. But if you get ever inspired to be more independent, well, in order to move forward with you, I would have to become more independent. And I like playing this role in people's life. I'll go find someone else who's maybe confused and hurt, went through a painful something, and I'll go be a loving person in their life. And then I keep getting to view myself as this loving, nurturing person. I just don't like people becoming more independent ever. I want you to keep staying in codependent energy. So you don't change because I don't want to change. So there you go, Sagittarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.